Maybe I am a thou shalt not.
Every street gang, they live by different codes. And it's like once you become a part of them, that's like a family to them. A lot of my uncles and cousins were affiliated with the Mexican mafia. That intrigued me growing up. Seeing people who were around that and affiliated with that, you know? It's like something they live by. Now looking back at it, it's cold and dark. But when you're lost and lonely, you'll take anything you can, you know?
I think we could all be dangerous people.
People say you're a monster.
Listen here, Sam Hennessy.
I just murdered some guy in cold blood.
When my mom told me what had happened, I didn't believe it. I think she did what she did because she had 6 kids and she didn't think that there was no other option when there was. My mom, she's a strong woman, you know. Very beautiful. But I think she was vulnerable. And that's my mom and dad when they were younger. In this picture, they look really happy, but this is when my dad would like beat my mom a lot. I'm glad she left her dad when she did, but she was stuck in a cycle that she couldn't get out of. And that led her to meet Daniel. I feel like if she wouldn't have met Daniel, she wouldn't be in jail for murder. That's for sure.
Hi, hello. Yes, I can see you. It's fun. My name is Candy Dominguez. I'm incarcerated for murder, and I have a 30-year sentence. My childhood. Let's see. It was not that great, actually. My father was a drug addict. He got addicted to heroin. My mother, she just looked out for partying. They would have parties in our backyard, and people would get drunk, and they would start arguing. Some people would stab each other, beat each other. So watching all of this, growing up, it just made us withdraw from our family, withdraw from trying to be accepted by anybody. Me and my sister, we suffered sexual abuse. That continued on until we were about 7 or 8 years old. Once my parents separated, my sister, she was sent to live up north with my father. Got bounced around from household to household. I became like a nuisance to people. They didn't want to deal with me. So when I took to the streets, I was looking for it. Take anything you can. We slept wherever we were that night. If not, we would go steal a car and park in the parking lot. We'll just go park in there and sleep in the cars. And as long as you were alive when you went to sleep and you're alive and breathing when you woke up, then you're good. When I had my first daughter, it was hard because I was a kid. My mother, she didn't want nothing to do with me. And everywhere I went to stay with, whether they were family or not, it's like these people didn't care. They'd give us a place to sleep on the floor, you know? And they were collecting welfare benefits off of us and still not even trying to help us, really. My cousin Jose, we would have starved if it wasn't for him. You know, he would go to McDonald's and jump in the dumpsters and get food that they would throw out and come back and give it to us so we can eat. So if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have survived. He told us how to make it out of our struggles. Eventually, once I started seeing the way he really was, I chose to keep my distance. I still had love for him. He's my cousin at the end of the day. And I tried to help him. And I told him, hey, Primo, that lifestyle ain't shit no more. That's not the way to live, you know? And he's like, no, Primo, I'm trying, you know? But not hard enough because he went right back to it. Got involved with him when I was like 13 years old, going on 14. When I got with him, I just wanted to be settled in life. But it was a very dysfunctional relationship. He did a lot of drugs and he drank a whole lot. He cheated on me. He went back and forth with other women. He would physically beat me. He would verbally yell at me. Like, he was very emotionally abusive, you know? But I actually stayed with him for 22 years. Emotionally, I was really hurt and in a lot of pain, you know? And the only thing that kept me going is thinking that I had to take care of my kids. So when I met Daniel, it was like, I can use him to move forward without looking back. One of his cousins, she said, hey, Candy, I just want to tell you, be careful because he's real abusive when he's in a relationship. But I felt like he was the only thing I can depend on. And I wanted to see where it would go. that night, my cousin Jose called me. It was like 3 in the morning, 2 or 3 in the morning. So I was like, hey, he wants to buy some drugs. You want to make some money or what? And he's like, all right, let's go. So we get there, and my cousin does not have the money for these drugs. And Daniel started talking to him, like they started arguing. Daniel got out of the truck, he walked to the back of it, and Jose told him, mano a mano, that's like hand on hand. And they started fighting, and Jose stabbed Daniel in the back. Daniel went to the hospital, and his lung was punctured in 2 different places. He pulled the IV out of his arm, and we left the hospital. He was so angry. It's like he was thinking I set him up or something. So yeah, I was worried. So 2 more days went by, and we were just at my house. My dad was in the front room watching TV. My little kids were in the bedroom. Daniel came back. That's when he acted crazy. Daniel, he kept telling me about my cousin, Jose, that he was gonna kill him. He was gonna kill him. Daniel didn't seem like he can kill somebody by himself. But around his cousin, Gabriel, he seemed like it was more, okay, he can do something because he had somebody with him. Daniel told me, you go find your cousin today, and if you don't, I'm gonna kill you tomorrow. And he's like, today's the day, Connie. Today's the day you're gonna help me catch your cousin. And I didn't feel like I had no choice. They sent Gabriel's girlfriend with me. The whole time we left my house, she was on the phone with them. Daniel, he wanted to know what was going on at all times. So we go around the block, and we found my cousin on a corner. He agrees to go to my house, and we park in front of my house, and he gets out, and him and Sylvia went first. Jose walked into my back room, through the dining room, into the hallway. He went into my bedroom, and he was shocked when he seen Gabriel. And then Daniel came out of my kid's bedroom, and he had an aluminum bat. And he looked at my cousin, and he said, do you remember me? And my cousin looked at him and said, no, I've never seen you before. And he said, oh, I'm the one you stabbed. And then he hit him with the bat. I honestly think he should have died with the beating Daniel gave him. But my cousin was still fighting a whole lot. Like, he was not giving up his life that easy. Daniel and Gabriel, they carried my cousin to the back house. didn't think Daniel was going to do anything more. But later they said in the court that Jose had a bag over his head and Daniel was trying to choke him. And the next day when I went to the back house, yeah, he was dead.
So these photos are before Daniel came into our life. I don't like to look at these photos that much because pictures could be deceiving because, I mean, in some of them we looked really happy, but there was 1,000 things behind the photo, you know. I'm Brenda Gavan, and Jose Manchaca was my second cousin, and Candy Dominguez is my mother. We would call Jose Pee-wee. That's what everyone called him. Him and my mom were really close. Growing up, they were almost like brother and sister. Pee-wee was always in and out of trouble, involved in drugs. But he was very protective of us girls in the family. And he was very loving. He did his best when he wasn't on drugs. Whenever Pee-wee was in a bind, my mom, she would help him as much as she could. They both valued family over everything. And my cousin trusted my mom. But then she met Daniel. With Daniel, I think she was trying to find happiness in a way that we couldn't give her happiness. But then things got even worse. When Daniel would come over and they'd go in the room, she'd come out and her eyes would be like really glossy. So I think she was on drugs, but she put on this like, I don't care about anything, you know? I don't know, it's like she went numb when she was around Daniel. There were people coming to that house. So I think at one point he was running drugs through my mom's house. I had just turned 15. So it was like, it was scary. I didn't know what was gonna happen, but I knew the house was not safe. So I went to go live with my uncle. I do think she was scared of Daniel, but she had already let him in. My mom never had been in trouble ever. Never would she had killed Pee-wee on her own. But that night, Daniel told my mom she had to choose her cousin or her kids. And she felt like there was no other way. Daniel had supposedly shown her 3 holes that he had dug up. They were supposed to be graves. And told her, like, this is where your kids are gonna be if you don't do what I say. And that's when everything was set in motion to what was gonna happen.
night that this happened, we got called to a house to assist the murder division. We pulled up, the door was open, and we just went in. Everything, it smelled like, you know, like it had been recently cleaned. Nothing looked absurdly out of place. But we realized that, hey, there's a back shed. So I remember going out the back door, and then as soon as we hit the backyard, that's when I smelled the body. We immediately gave each other a look and said, hey man, we gotta go fucking check that shed. So when we got the door open to the back, we saw a Tupperware bin. And as we get closer to the Tupperware bin, that's when the smell got stronger and stronger and stronger. My partner was the first one to open it, and then he moved around the black bag to confirm that it was a body, and it was in pieces, in a garbage bag, in a Tupperware box. I mean, I could see the flesh, I could smell it. It was horrible because of just how gruesome and insane that scene was. And that is not something that people see every day. Evidence detectives came out. I didn't think that it could get worse than having human remains in a Tupperware box, but this was only the beginning. We were there for a couple of hours, just with officers on the perimeter, detectives walking around taking pictures. I remember there being a barbecue grill. I remember opening it and looking at it and thinking like, wow, this is a really nice smoker. And I remember closing it, and for a second, I'm like, wait a minute. That is not just like leftover meat. You had a human bone in a barbecue pit. As a cop, you know, you see many, many horrible things, but I've never seen somebody purposely dismantle, you know, this human life, just disposed of in such a inhumane way. I thought that was pretty bad.
All right, come on in. That's Tracy. All right, Candy. I mean, we have a body there at your house. I know what happened, okay? I need to understand why this happened. Who are you afraid of?
The Lord, the baby. We could kill me, we fight each other like kids. You know, nothing to say.
San Antonio, this was a very big case at that time because the Texas Mexican Mafia is a feared gang in the city. And the brutality on this case was a total stamp of what they would do. They beat him with bats, they killed him, they dismembered him, they burned him up. My name is Anthony Rodriguez. I'm a criminal investigator for the Bexar County District Attorney's Office, and I'm the gang investigator for the office. The Texas Mexican Mafia has been rooted here since the 80s, and they operate off of the I-35 corridor, the highway which runs from Mexico all the way up to Canada. And that's a major route for drugs, for human trafficking. And because of that, they've actually declared San Antonio as their capital. And the primary actors in this case, the defendant and the victim, are both affiliated with the Texas Mexican Mafia. I was brought onto this case to assist the prosecutor with trial preparation, and specifically the prosecution of Daniel Lopez. There were other co-defendants, but that was not the priority at the time. We had read the statements, we had watched the videos, and we did form our own assumptions that Daniel Lopez was the one that actually killed Jose Menchaca. Jose Menchaca was beat within an inch of his life. He was dragged to a detached garage, and it was there that Daniel Lopez put a plastic bag over his face and suffocated him. That's how he ended up dying.
Daniel, it's gonna meet again.
Daniel Lopez is a member of the Texas Mexican Mafia. However, he's not just a member, he was a ranked member.
I have Pee-wee who was dead, okay? I have all this evidence that's been recovered when I run the search warrant.
He had prior felony convictions, and when you look at a criminal history of a person like this, it's no surprise that they would commit murder. But Daniel Lopez was uncooperative. He would not talk to us.
Kenny, this is kind of where we're at. You gonna look at me? I want to have a decent conversation with you, okay? Because like everything we talked about before has gotten us to this point, okay?
Initially, Candy was somewhat uncooperative, but the judge ruled that she should go to jail until the trial began. Then eventually, she finally came forward and explained her involvement in the case. Kenya Dominguez said that she was told by Daniel Lopez that if she said anything, if she went to the police, she would end up just like Jose Menchaca. And she had every reason to believe his threats. So learning her role in this case was shocking to me, but at the end of the day, it wasn't a stretch to think that the only female that was surviving in that house at that time would participate in the disposal of the body. So you had Daniel Lopez, who killed Jose Menchaca. You had Gabriel Moreno, who it was alleged had assisted Daniel Lopez in killing Jose Menchaca. And then you had Candy Dominguez. She did have a role in it, but it wasn't to the degree of the other two. And because her story was needed, she was offered a deal. Prosecutor made it very clear that Candy was party to this crime, and she is looking at going to prison. But several people in our office felt that she likely acted in duress. And that's how I felt after I read the reports, after I watched the interview. I remember feeling this, this poor lady. She had no choice but her kids are in the other room. This murder took place. This body's left at her house. She can't call the cops. She's afraid of what's going to happen. So she's forced to have to act. Andy, at least in the eyes of the law, is just as responsible for Jose's death as Daniel Lopez. But in cases involving a gang like the Mexican Mafia, the most common issue you will encounter is uncooperative or reluctant witnesses. So a plea agreement had been made with her in exchange for her cooperation and testimony in trial. Candy Dominguez was a key player in this because of the fact that she is just so open and honest and how she talks about what happened to Jose Menchaca. My name's Joshua Summers. At the time that I got involved in this case, I was a prosecutor with the Major Crimes Unit. And that's how I became involved on the Daniel Lopez case. Daniel Lopez had a lengthy criminal history. He was a known member of the Mexican Mafia, and he had a very violent past. But I also discovered that Daniel Lopez had murdered at least one other person before. We learned that a woman named Dominique Hernandez had been reported as a missing person. She was known to be dating Daniel Lopez. As I began to delve into the case, we were able to track down a woman that had seen Daniel Lopez burn all of Dominique's remains. Not unlike that of Jose, she was dismembered and her remains were completely burned. Ultimately, Daniel Lopez had not only murdered Jose Menchaca, but he had also murdered Dominique Hernandez. So when you talk about who Daniel Lopez was, when I say that he was evil, I don't use that word lightly.
Daniel Lopez sits alone, flanked by numerous armed bailiffs and deputies, listening to testimony from multiple witnesses who say Lopez violently murdered and burned the remains of Jose Menchaca. Multiple witnesses say Lopez shot and killed his girlfriend, 24-year-old mother of three, Dominique Hernandez, 2 months before Lopez violently murdered and burned the remains of Jose Menchaca.
Explaining to Dominique's family that there was not going to be a trial was definitely a hard thing to do, but we were at least able to tell the story of what happened in that punishment phase of the murder of Jose Menchaca to ensure that justice was done. I thought that someone as evil and bad as Daniel Lopez certainly deserved a life sentence. Daniel Lopez designed a plan to exact revenge against Jose Menchaca. And he had Candy Dominguez helped lure Jose over to her home so that Daniel Lopez could carry out that plan to murder Jose Menchaca. Candy never tried to make excuses for what happened, never. She said, I'm taking responsibility for it. And you very rarely hear people who are charged say that. So it wasn't going to be a guilt or innocence case. But it's not black and white. It never is.
In Candy's case, it's more like what could have caused a person to be caught up in such an awful situation that they felt compelled to do these things. Did you have a choice? And if you did have a choice, what were your choices? What could happen if I don't do this? My impression of the relationship between Daniel and Candy was one of control. She was a perfect victim for him.
She wanted somebody that was a bad boy, and she found him, and it was obvious to me that he just totally took over her. Candy was basically threatened to involve herself, and if Candy hadn't lured her cousin to the house that day, Daniel would have made good on his threat to kill her and harm her children. So we felt that we would be able to convince the court that they should give her a more reasonable sentence, maybe 15 years. That's what our hope was. But I don't think the court was convinced. We were disappointed, but she was silent. She was stoic. Her whole body language was a shutdown, was a silent figure in the courtroom.
I would never make sense of what I did and what I took part in. So the best thing is to leave it where it's at and continue to move forward. That's all I can do, you know? Because so many lives were affected behind the decisions we made that day. I do feel like I should have gotten time, you know? But I feel like they came for me harder than they did everybody else.
I was expecting her to lash out, to be aggrieved. But there was, I think, a raw acceptability. It should not have been the 30-year sentence. Because she went through all of the abuse at the beginning stages of her life, she was very much traumatized. She then met Daniel, and she winds up with a man in her life who takes her to the extreme. Involving herself with somebody with that type of background is only going to result in the kind of situation that she found herself in. You know, he's somebody that you need to be afraid of.
Everybody was scared of me, but I'm only one individual in this world. One. Candy, I feel like she set me up, right? Because nobody in this world has seen me kill that man. That's why I'm saying so. How am I being charged with murder? Candy, she showed me a side of her was like, man, this is crazy.
Daniel is a very dangerous person, but Candy was worse.
I absolutely think Candy was in charge of this whole thing.
Quite frankly, she scared me.
Candy, she's evil. And that was my biggest mistake ever, trusting her.
My name's Daniel Lopez. My number is 222-6341. I was convicted of murder. Being with this case is gruesome, and it's not the norm. I think we could all be dangerous people. You know what I mean? Every human being on this earth can be dangerous if they're pushed to that point in their life. I know people want to know, was I in the right state of mind? What was I thinking? What was I feeling? Was I sober? Was I on drugs? I know people want to know all this, but this case is not what I want to be remembered as. This case is just another chapter in my life. I think we could all be dangerous people.
People say you're a monster.
I'm sitting here saying I'm innocent.
I just murdered some guy in cold blood.
When you have a case like this, it's just terrible. The facts are terrible. It's everything you wouldn't want to see on a case. It's gory, it's gruesome. The evidence, was stacked against Daniel. But I get called in often for people that other lawyers don't want. And that's what happened in Daniel's case. My name's Charles Bunk. I'm a criminal defense attorney here in San Antonio, Texas. Daniel, he's scary. He's visibly imposing. And he does present himself, or he wants to present himself as this mean, evil person. But I absolutely think Candy Dominguez was in charge of this whole thing. The whole thing started with Candy being manipulative. They're both, in my opinion, equally culpable. How would I describe their relationship? Demented. This is a letter from Candy to Daniel Lopez. If you look at the envelope, Mrs. Candy Lopez to Mr. Daniel Lopez, and then, it's full of love. I love you, I love you, I love you. I loved you from the minute I saw you. You read these and you think they've got this really strong, loving relationship, but I know what they did and I know what they're capable of doing. And then on the back, she uses her go-to phrase, ride or die, and then fuck Bonnie and Clyde.
wife and husband. It's almost as if she's saying, you know, Bonnie and Clyde got nothing on us. You read these things and you would think that his loving wife was going to come say he didn't do it. And yet, when she testified, there was no love at all between Candy and Daniel. She came and she said, that guy right there is the guy that did all this stuff. You know, I think he thought this loving wife was going to come, and that's not who showed up. Candy showed up.
I feel like we clicked at first, but then once I got locked up and she got locked up, I started seeing the different side of her. I was like, this is not the Candy I know, but she just playing her part. She just playing the system. You didn't see me smiling when I was on trial. She put on this little show, made it seem like she was crazy. She made it seem like a circus.
I was raised up in San Antonio, Texas, on the west side of town. The kind of sketchy neighborhood, harsh, and hard upbringing. Even as a child, I kind of walked into school seeing prostitutes and a lot of drug dealing going on. They respected me and showed me unconditional love. But once you're involved and you're part of something, now you're in the inside, dealing with life, death, extortion, drugs, prostitution, money, everything that you could think of that a lot of people see in these movies. You know, I guess you could say I kind of got involved in that lifestyle young. But I was just like, you know, I was really used to females just wanting to mess with me because of the lifestyle I was living. I met Candy through my cousin. I went over there one time and I delivered some drugs, and she was there. We started hanging out. You know, I stayed at her house one time, and then, you know, we got involved with each other, but we just knew each other from a short amount of time, and then all this happened. Well, I guess they would say he injured me, but to me, I was just like, to me, it was nothing major.
So whose idea was it to bring Jose to the house?
Jose to the house? Well, see, I really don't want to talk about it. Like, there was a lot of assumptions on the case, and to this day, people are assuming a lot. They're accusing me of killing Jose, right? But everybody's got to understand, my lord, did you see this man kill this? No, I seen him have a physical altercation, but at the end of the day, he was still breathing when I left. Nobody in this world seen me kill this man. Nobody in this world seen me or witnessed me kill this man. How am I being charged with murder?
So you didn't kill him?
See, a lot happened that night, and I won't talk about who didn't kill him, or if he did kill him, or if I did kill him, or Gabriel killed him, or Candy killed him. Only God knows what happened that night. And then when I was on trial, they started bringing up other stuff, other murders, and I honestly gotta say, it was a lot for me.
In the sentencing phase, they brought up another murder of Dominique Hernandez.
Of course.
Did you kill Dominique?
No.
Have you ever killed anyone?
Of course.
You've never been prosecuted for any of the murders you did do?
No. No, I haven't.
The evidence was overwhelming. So Daniel and I were behind the 8 ball from the get-go. All the witnesses that were at the house all said Daniel was there. And some of the surrounding witnesses, if you will, they said that Daniel said that out loud. And I told you I was going to get him, and I got him. So the defense was not so much, hey, I have an alibi, or hey, somebody else did it. Our defense tried to kind of shift some of the blame away from Daniel to just get the light off of him and try to, hey, look over there. There's something really good happening over there. Go look at that. Don't look at him. And I think that there was at least hope that maybe Candy wasn't going to come say anything against her boyfriend. But when she got up there, she wanted him to know, you know what? I got a deal and you didn't. She was almost proud to be sitting up there, you know, able to tell her story and throw him under the bus. And she did it well. I don't have an issue with Candy getting a deal. I think they needed Candy's testimony. But I would have liked to have seen her get more time. Even if she serves her whole time, she will get out after 30 years. But she was every bit as complicit in this thing as Daniel was. She set the whole thing up. I mean, it's only fair if both sides get a fair shot. And as you get to know Daniel, you're not that surprised that Daniel did what he did. But you see Candy and you think, well, okay, can she really be that evil? And apparently she can. By the time she testified, I'd read enough of her letters to realize she's just as dangerous as he is. Sylvia's testimony was terrible, and it was a bad situation. Pee-wee and Daniel had a beef, I get that. Sylvia had no dog in this fight whatsoever. But they keep Sylvia in the bathroom for days, and they kept her basically hostage. Sylvia testified that she's in the bathroom of the house and she could hear the beating as it happened. She described the sound she heard like the pinging of the aluminum bats. That was a hard thing to sit through and listen to.
We are a close family. Sylvia was the oldest of 6 children. She was a very good big sister. Then she was a good mommy too. Now we don't see that spark in her anymore. It's just sadness, like she's just hollow. She's alive, but she's not living. My name is Adriana, and I'm Sylvia's mother. Jose was a funny guy. He wasn't a perfect person, but he was good to Sylvia. He gave his life that she would be safe. He died telling her that he loved her. There was nothing that she could do. The first time I saw her after this happened, she crawled in the bed with me and got in kind of the fetal position. And she started to tell me what happened. Sylvia and Jose walked through the door. Daniel started hitting Jose with the bat. He just beat the life out of him. He was yelling out for Candy. He was yelling for his cousin. And Sylvia told him, "Why are you yelling for her? She put us in this situation." They ended up tying Sylvia up and put her in the shower in Candy's restroom. And they basically held her hostage for days. She was hogtied, so she had the marking on her ankles and her wrists. She still has scars from it. Later on, Daniel took Sylvia out to the barbecue pit, and Jose's leg was on the barbecue pit. It was burned. Daniel told her, "You know what I did to him, and you're a lot smaller." So I believe Daniel is a very dangerous person. But Candy was worse. Candy said that she didn't regret anything. She was bragging about what she did to her own cousin. Candy was just cold. Sylvia said she asked her one time to loosen up the ropes, and she cursed at her and told her that she wasn't going anywhere. And it's about 3 days after Jose's body was found that Sylvia finally escaped.
If you guys have a napkin or tissue, right? People, you like crazy, like.
Okay, they're also in jail right now. Okay, but if there's, well, I know, and if there's other people who need to be put in jail, then I need to hear it from you.
Yeah, but there's just they're in jail doesn't mean that me or my family safe.
Okay, well, why don't you explain to me what you know about his death?
I was buried.
Okay, well, you know, walk me through it.
He beat my dude to death in front of me. The only other person that might say something, which I doubt, because right now she's sacrificing her own life.
Who?
I mean, Candy. She, got her own cousin killed. He's just psychotic. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's just really crazy.
Nana, ito.
Before this, Candy was my favorite niece. And there wasn't anything she would ever hide from me. Those were the days that I loved her. That was the Candy that I knew. My name is Yvonne Gilkey, and Jose Menchaca Jr. was my son. He was my only son. And we were very close. Jose TV. He was always goofy. Since he was little, he was a goofy kid. You know, and he was always happy-go-lucky, you know, always put a smile on someone's face. And I could never be upset with him too long because he would always make me laugh no matter what. Pee-wee and Candy, they were first cousins. They were inseparable. They would always watch out for each other. So yeah, I always thought he was safe with Candy. And that was my biggest mistake ever, trusting her. I've been calling my niece Candy, calling her because that's, if I couldn't get a hold of him, I'd get a hold of her. So she'd tell him to call me. But she never answered my calls or anything. And that's when we got the phone call. And that was the worst day of my life. Her mother's the one that told me. She said, "Are you sitting down?" I go, "No, why? What's going on?" She goes, "Please sit down." She said, my son, Jose TV, had been murdered by her daughter, Candy, and her daughter's boyfriend. I would have never imagined it, that she'd have done something like that. This doesn't make no sense to me. Why does she have to go through that extreme? Why did she do it? I was very shocked. She was sarcastic, happy, what she had done. She was proud of what she had did. She sat in court and just laughed. I just seen evil in her. I seen evil in her that I had not ever seen before. And I'm glad that guy, punk ass motherfucker, got life. Candy should have got life too. She planned it. She planned when she was gonna pick my son up. She planned what they were gonna do. She was the mastermind behind all this. I felt so bad for these kids because of the actions that she took that day. Her kids are now suffering. I would not ever put my kids to see somebody else get killed. Ever would I do that.
Initially, the impression I had of Candy Dominguez was a mother who was maybe, you know, unwillingly involved, trying to protect her children. But at the end of the day, the children are unspoken victims in this case because they have to live with the trauma of what they know took place. When this brutal murder took place, there were 3 children in the household. They were all kindergarten age, very young. And we found through the investigation that Candy put all the children into that back bedroom. She turned the TV on and she told them not to leave. She did that because she knew what was going to happen. She knew what the plan was. The shocking thing was that this is her own family. and they're all kind of forced to be unwilling participants in this brutal murder.
All right, can you sit down in that chair for me? Oh, it's a weird room. It's got carpet all the walls and stuff. But it's a good one. Okay, so we can have privacy and talk. Okay. My name is Detective Size. This is where I work. Okay. What is your name?
Brianna.
Brianna? And what is your mom's name?
Andy Dominguez.
All right. What we're wanting to talk to you about is something that might have happened there recently. You know what I'm talking about?
I think so.
Kind of. Do you know Pee-wee?
Yes.
Something happened with Pee-wee at your house?
I'm not sure.
Not sure.
I remember watching this video, and the biggest thing that stuck out was just how calm she explained what she saw and heard that day.
We were watching TV in the front room, me and my brother, and then we were watching Netflix, and they told us to go in my room. They said they were moving stuff, yeah, but I don't think they were because they were in my mom's room, and there was people screaming, help me, and then the other day, then the next day, we went in my mom's room, and we saw blood kind of on the couch, and there was 2 holes in the wall. My mom's boyfriend came in, but when he came in, he had a white shirt, white pants on, and he looked like they had blood on him.
Brianna knows what took place.
I mean, she's very descriptive about it. But at the same time, she doesn't seem very emotional about it. She just kind of openly talks about it as if she's describing going to school one day.
So you said that night when you heard screaming, somebody screaming for help. Was it a man or a woman that was screaming?
It was a man.
Man? Did you recognize the voice?
No. Kind of sounded like Pee-wee, but I'm not sure.
She knew who these people were. She could recognize voices. And it was heartbreaking because this is not what a child should have to be dealing with when they're at home. And for her to be able to explain this, it's very sad.
Okay, so this man, when he was screaming, what was he saying?
He was saying, Candy, help me. He was screaming for help.
So he was screaming for your mom to help.
And help too. He just screamed my little thing 2 times.
For me, the biggest heartbreak when I watched it was how much exposure does a child like this and her siblings have to violence in the household? Are they so used to this kind of violence that to them it's just another day where somebody's getting brutally murdered in this house? And so I still had a lot of questions, and the only way I can get an answer to these questions, I need to talk to Candy Dominguez. This woman walks in, very petite, very respectful, and she sat at the foot of the table. I sat on one side, and I began the interview. And I asked her, were you involved with this because you were forced to be involved, or you were coerced into being involved with this? And she came right out and said no. And she immediately goes into this story that I did not expect. And I was absolutely shocked by it.
Well, after everybody left, the body just sat there for like a week. So then I told Daniel, something has to give. We have to do something because the body smells. You can smell it 3 blocks away from my house. You can smell the body. And he's like, I can't. I said, yes, you can. So we go to cut the body up into pieces because we're going to burn this body in the barbecue pit. That was the original plan. So he's looking there, and he's standing there looking like, and I'm like, well, what are you waiting for? You know? And he's just standing there. So I go get some things, And I did cut up the body myself. I come back into the back house and I start cutting up the body. And I told him, well, do something at least, you know? This is your stuff. Like, pick up the pieces, do something. So he's laughing at me and he's like, I'm in love. And he picks up the pieces of the body and he's putting it in bags.
When I listened to this audio today, I could see that same attitude, that same person is still there. I was expecting a lot of tears, a lot of crying, a lot of fear and intimidation. Instead, I got this person who had absolutely no emotion, who had absolutely no remorse, who was at the verge of bragging about what occurred to her own cousin. There was clearly something there that made her want to say, look, this is who I am. This is what I did. Quite frankly, she scared me. I mean, she sat there and calmly talked about how she dismembered a human body and was almost proud to say that this is not the first time she has done this. Kenny Dominguez is part of the Mexican mafia lifestyle. In her interview, she went as far as to explain that she disposes of body parts for cartels in Mexico. And this is not a lifestyle that is easily rehabilitated from. She still has no emotion. She still has no remorse for what occurred in her home to her cousin in an area that was in close proximity to her children. So Candy Dominguez 100% is still a dangerous individual.
A lot of people would say I'm very cold, but I'm definitely not evil. I miss my cousin. I do feel sorry. I feel bad that I participated in taking his life because no matter which way his life was going, it was still his life. But, you know, this was never nothing personal. I didn't expect everything to happen the way it did. It was not planned. It just happened. I've always been cold. I'm not emotional, and that's not because I'm trying. It's just over the years as a kid, I turned my emotions off and I never turned them back on. Even as a kid, I was not emotional. I didn't cry. I never have. It was a way of surviving because the streets don't love nobody. They don't take care of nobody. I became emotionally cut off. I was numb most of the time. Like, I was just living. I wasn't thinking. I wasn't feeling. I was about 8 years old, and I had run away from home, and I was staying at a house, and the girl's house I was staying at, her family was in the cartel, and that's how I became involved. And as I got older, it was a choice to stay around them. The most gruesome thing I saw involving the cartel was when they skinned a man alive. Yes. And then they beheaded him and hung him from the highway. As far as disposing of bodies, you don't gotta learn, you just watch. If you're just quiet, you can watch a lot of things. But when I had my kids, I knew for sure that was a lifestyle I didn't want to be a part of. And that lifestyle I walked away from when I was a teenager. But when I met Daniel, it just took right back to it, you know?
My impression of the relationship between Daniel and Candy was one of control. She was a perfect victim for him.
She wanted somebody that was a bad boy, and she found him, and it was obvious to me that he just totally took over her. he's somebody that you need to be afraid of.
I did believe he was gonna kill me. Because, I had already heard that he killed his ex-girlfriend, and I had already heard a lot of stuff. So I was like, his threats clearly are not empty if his girlfriend before me was dead, But when he said he was gonna kill me that first time, I said, okay, fine. So then he's like, you're not gonna run or cry. I'm really gonna kill you. You didn't hear me? But I looked at Daniel and I laughed in his face. And then he did a double take and he called me a crazy bitch. And he didn't kill me. So I was like, whatever, So, no, I didn't try to stop Daniel. Could I have? I probably could have, because I had a good influence over him. But either way, I can't blame Daniel for being in the situation I'm in, because I made a choice to be there with him, to help him. And I'm sorry I'm not very emotional about it. I'm not going to put crocodile tears on to appease anybody,
Were you afraid of him?
I was not afraid of him. Most definitely I was not. He's hot-tempered, he's hot-headed, but he's a very caring person. He's got a loving heart. I never expected to have what I had with Daniel. What I had with him, I never felt with nobody. And no matter what we did, that connection with him is still there, Daniel was my first love. My first and my last. Maybe my last.
When was the last time you wrote to Daniel?
Well, we're not supposed to have any contact with each other, actually. But let's see, the last time I wrote to Daniel was about, what are we in March? About 8 months ago. But I don't even know if he ever got it or not, so, but I'm pretty sure he did.
A relationship with Candy is just, people could think what they want, you know what I'm saying? I just knew Candy for a little short amount of time, so I didn't really get to know her. And I didn't really see her like a, like a serious relationship. But yeah, she used to write me all the time. She still tries to reach out, like, yeah, she sent me a JPEG through somebody, I think her daughter or somebody else. And she put, I love you, and Candy or whatever. But I just laugh and throw that shit away. I don't got nothing for her, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, I got fucked over or whatever, how you want to say it. That's how I see it. But I don't see her laughing because she got 30 years. Me personally, I take responsibility for the lifestyle I chose, not for this murder, but the lifestyle I chose. If you're not living that lifestyle, you wouldn't be put in that situation, right? Because everybody wants to be like, oh, they want that clout, they want fortune, fame, everybody wants a badass drug dealer as boyfriend to take care of them. But at the end of the day, everything comes with a price, you know what I'm saying? Everything comes with a price.
I killed my wife, but I'm not going to harm anyone. I've changed.
Why should people trust you?
They have to see. That's the next chapter.
So many people have lost their lives just out of this one case alone.
How did this guy get out to do it again?
He thought I betrayed him, and we went at it. And he died.
I had a metal baseball bat. When he dropped, I started kicking him.
This was a brutal, brutal beating.
Anybody injured? Yeah, there's a guy laying on the street.
His friend's eyes get big, like, fuck all that. I knock him out too.
I'm not sitting here saying I'm innocent. I'm not. But to die like this is beyond me.
It's so horrific to even visualize blood all over them. You're gonna have to stop.
It's hard for me to feel this sense of guilt because I feel justified.
Nobody understands you like your twin. It was always me and him. Whenever I needed him, he was there. He was the protector. Water protected me. So I lived with that guilt. I really thought I was gonna lose my twin that night. And in so many ways. Dribble. He was still took it from me.
I think we could all be dangerous people.
People say you're a monster.
I'm not sitting here saying I'm innocent.
I just murdered some guy in cold blood. My name is Walter Triplett Jr. I've been in prison since April 30th, 2009. The system works as it is designed to work, and it's not designed to work for me. I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, and it was a lower middle class neighborhood, mostly black. It was a good neighborhood. So maybe crack hit. When crack hit, things changed. The men and the women that we looked up to, so many of them became addicts, destitute. The sense of community left. My early years is good. I grew up in a two-parent household, my mother, my father, and 3 of my siblings. My older brother, Mike, my older sister, Isha, and my twin sister, Tanya. It's hard to explain if you're not a twin, right? She's literally like another part of me. Like we share the womb. Like it's nothing like it. Even though we're twins, she was always kind of like my little sister. Like she was mine to protect. She was mine to look after. My teenage years, pardon my English, but shit changed. My parents' relationships started cracking. It became obvious that they were going their separate ways, and that was around the same time that my mother developed cancer the first time. And when she got sick, things got unstable because my mother, for us, was the strongest person we knew. No one taught me at that age how to deal with these things and cope with these things. So I got angry. I got into the streets more. started experimenting with selling drugs. You know, of course, that was what's going on in my neighborhood, so it wasn't hard to do. Smoking weed, drinking alcohol, and just getting into more aggressive shit. Thinking about my life. I didn't like how I felt, so I knew that I had to do something. I had to learn to live in a world where the beat wasn't mine. I was transitioning. When Michaela was born, things shifted into focus. It might sound crazy because as big as I am, but when I first held her, you know, my body was too small and the love was too big. Like it hurt, like it physically hurt. Like I just didn't know what to do with it. Like I was just like, you know. I just knew that when I looked at her, I got something to really work for, you know. Yeah, I loved it. I loved it. I knew that I had to provide. So I got to thinking about how do I become my own boss? So poverty will do, motivate you, you know. I started working as a bouncer, and I was staffing bars and clubs. It was a challenge, but I was definitely looking forward to the future, you know, yeah. That night, my cousin, Woo, and my sister were calling me about going out with them and celebrating Crystal's birthday. I wasn't gonna go because I had other things to do, but I decided to go out. You know, I thought, all right, I'm gonna go kick it. So we decided to go downtown. It was a new spot called the Barley House. We get there, my cousin Crystal, Tanya, and Woo, they sit at the bar. And me and one other guy take a seat at a table maybe 5 to 10 feet away. We was there for maybe 2 or 3 minutes and a fight broke out at the bar. There's a guy who gets slapped by his friend. And my sister, my cousin, and her fiance laugh at me. He decides to come over and sucker punch Woo. I didn't know what all happened at that time, but I seen the fight and I broke it up. So I grabbed Woo, I grabbed him under his waist, and I pulled him off of the guy. And as I pull him off, all the bouncers are starting to swarm us now. So I tell them, like, listen, man, I got it. I got him under control. We're out of here. So I tell everybody, the 4 people I came with, I'm like, hey, listen, night over with, we out of here, let's go. So we leave. When we went outside, about 10 to 12 white guys come chasing us out the bar. The one that ran up on me first was one of the bouncers. So when he ran up on me and I turned around, you know, I throw my hands up like, listen, man, leave us alone. Why are y'all out here? We don't want no problems. Let me and my family go home. I'm like, listen, man, I don't know what the fuck happened in the bar. Let us alone, man. Like, it's over with. Let us go home. So as I'm talking to him, I see some guys that they run down with my cousin and on Woo.
police for your ambulance. Police, there's a big fight on West 6th Street. There's a bunch of people throwing punches. There's a huge fight on West 6th Street. How many people are out there? There's like about 20.
So I'm about to go and break that shit up. And the bouncer gets in my way. And when he gets in my way, the movement catches my eye from the side. I see these two white guys are coming up on my sister. One's coming up from behind her and one's coming towards her. The one that comes towards her throws a haymaker at her. When I see these guys attack my sister, all bets is off. Like, enough of this shit. Everything else was biological. I had to protect my sister.
Cleveland Police. I was driving by West 6th Street and there was a big fight out in the street. I think you need somebody to come over and check this out.
So the first guy I get to, I hit him, he locked up, and he goes straight out.
Anybody injured? Yeah, there's a guy laying on the street. We have a gentleman over here. He's unconscious.
When I knock him out, his friend's eyes get big, like fuck all that. I knock him out too.
The street, there's two guys that are knocked out cold laying in the street out here right now. There's two kids lying knocked out in the street right now. Any weapons? Not that I've seen. Just spit. Just spit, you think? As far as I see right now, just spit. All right, we're sending officers over.
And then everything gets quiet. So everybody's now like sobering up, I guess. All those guys that chased us out, they done all fled the scene. The second guy knocked out, he gets up and he runs off too. I remember this lady, she's cradling his head, you know, you can see the blood coming out his head. You know, I tell people like, listen, man, just, you know, call the police, call the ambulance. Me and my sister and one other guy, we're the only black people out here. So it's like, oh, like look at this shit. It's just me and him and all these witnesses. My sister comes up to me and she's like, come on, brother, let's leave. But I know, like, if I leave, they're gonna blame me for this shit. So I tell my sister, like, listen, baby, I'm stuck. Like, I can't leave right now. And I just look down at him, I'm like, look what y'all done got us into. Like, y'all out here fucking with us for, like. Police officer told me he died. My first thought was, you know, his family. You know, imagine that one night your son just goes out and then he doesn't come home. But if I didn't protect my sister that night, then my sister may have been the one who died. Why couldn't they just leave us alone? Like, why didn't y'all just leave us alone? Like, let us go home. And that was it. Like, I just want to go home. You know. I haven't been home since. The police, they locked me up. I haven't been home since.
This call from... This call is from a DRC correctional facility and is subject to monitoring and recording.
Hello.
What's going on?
Your ears were burning, right? Because you heard me talking about you. You felt me talking about you.
What's going on?
I'm still filming.
Oh, okay. I'll call you back, man.
Okay, babe. Love you too. We never say bye. We always say, love you. Okay. When my son threw that punch, he was protecting his twin sister. And that's all he did. He's supposed to just stand there and let them hit her? Had he stood there and let somebody jump on his sister, he would have had to answer to me. My name is Mary Triplett, and Walter is my son. That's my little scholar there. I think he was about no more than 10 years old there. Walter as a child was a mama's boy. He was very unassuming, very quiet, and he would do things to try to make everybody happy. That was Walter. And here's another one with him and his twin sister and his older sister. Walter and Waltanya had a unique relationship. They always knew when the other one was hurting or in trouble. They were very protective of each other. I mean, super protective of each other. So here he is, 15, with the GQ look. And even then, you could see the height on him. Walter was always tall for his age. And I think in a lot of ways that worked against him. When the trial started, I was nervous. But I still wanted to believe in the justice system. I thought that once everything came out, that they would just let him go. But we could see immediately that it wasn't going to go his way. The biggest thing that they started in on was the fact that my son was so tall. I mean, they kept bringing that point up here. He's a big guy, just emphasizing it over and over again, like he was just a savage, savage person. And we're looking at him like, are you serious? You're portraying my son as an animal. As an animal. I've never seen a trial where you had a prosecutor that just went off. And for me, he was not professional at all. Then when they said something about my daughter being hit by men, he said, oh, she's a big girl. She can handle herself. We're talking about my baby, my daughter. And the judge, for me, the judge was the worst. She had definitely made up her mind. She was going to make an example of him right from the beginning. Listening to that judge, her attitude was just horrible. She would make little comments every time the prosecutor would say something and it seemed like it was a good point. She would look at us and say, can't come back on that one. Lady, you're supposed to be sitting up there being impartial. But I still thought the system would work. I really thought that the system was fair. I absolutely thought that you got 12 people sitting up in that jury. They all heard what I heard. My son is going to walk out of here. I really thought that they would be fair about it. And it didn't turn out that way. Not at all. He was given such an unfair sentence. I mean, when she gave it to him, it was like, you need to be thrown away. And that's exactly what she did. She threw him away. How is that fair? How is that right? I truly believe that judge gives black people the maximum of what she can give them. She absolutely maxes them out. And she's black. So it's not like I'm just saying that she's partial because of that. She's literally black. My faith in the justice system is shot right now. It's absolutely shot.
Was excessive, unreasonable, unwarranted, based on the facts. I felt that the jury saw a big black man attacking a little white man, and that's what they convicted him on. I am Rufus Sims, and I'm the former attorney for Walter Triplett. I've been an attorney for 35 years. I've seen a couple of cases, yeah, I have. It was clear to me, to the defense, that Walter intervened on behalf of his sister. And under Ohio law, then and now, you have a right to defend third parties if you feel it's justified in doing so. But that wasn't the image that the judge gave to the jury. So they saw him as the aggressor and the wrongdoer. I felt that if the jury had been instructed differently, we would have had a different verdict. So there was an appeal filed based on the judge's failure to instruct the jury properly on the issue of self-defense of others. There were errors made. The Court of Appeals said there were errors made. And the case got reversed. Reversed and remanded back to the trial court. Walter had a brand new trial, yes. But the system is tilted toward conviction. So I always tell my clients, be very careful trusting the system.
You know, the dealings that I had with Walter throughout this incident, he seemed like a decent guy. You know, if someone, you know, tried to punch my sister, you know, I would have done the same thing Walter did. But there's a difference between what is right and what is legal. And Walter really had no legal justification for going down there and punching Michael Corrado.
Case like this, things are not always as appear. It's not always cut and dried. So
This is West 6 we're turning onto now. This is right where the assault was, right here. The bar is right across from where we're parked. And the incident actually took place about 100 feet, 150 feet down the road, closer to the corner. We interviewed a lot of people through the course of this investigation. All of the witnesses agreed that there was a fight inside the bar and that everybody poured out into the street. So we canvassed all the businesses up and down West 6th Street, identified 2 or 3 of them that had video cameras. We identified one video in particular. In that video, we could make out the groups of people that were involved confronting Walter's sister. Walter saw one guy take a swing at his sister, and you could see Walter running down the street right to his sister's location. And you can almost see him punching these 2 guys. But the important thing was that all of the witnesses indicated that Walter punched, not just the guy who threw the punch, but the guy that was standing next to him. And that was Michael. All the evidence that we had showed that Michael did not punch or attempt to punch or throw a punch at Walter's sister. It was this other guy. We don't know what Michael was thinking or what he was doing that night. We don't know why he was there, what brought him there. Maybe he was just cutting across the street and ended up next to this guy. So it's entirely possible that Michael Corrado did absolutely nothing wrong and lost his life that night just based on the fact that he was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
No one ever testified that Michael Corrado had any involvement in this altercation, whether inside the bar or outside the bar. He was a bystander to all this. So 18 years really pales in comparison to a life of being 6 feet under in the ground at the age of 22. My name is Richard Bombick. I was the assistant county prosecutor assigned to the case of State of Ohio versus Walter Triplett. The result of the first trial was Walter Triplett got the maximum sentence of 18 years. But 18 years for one punch? No. The cumulative sentence was 18 years, but it was 8 years plus 10 years for being a repeat violent offender. Walter Triplett had a conviction for felonious assault. He had a conviction for robbery, drug trafficking, and promoting prostitution. People make mistakes. That's human nature. But when you keep repeating the same mistakes, and when the mistakes maybe involve violence, then law-abiding citizens have a right to hope that there won't be a third time, fourth time, or beyond. Ultimately, the whole case, it's about a person being held accountable for their actions. It's that simple. There was a successful appeal. Okay, that's a constitutional right. So they reversed it. Do I agree with their initial reversal? No, but I live with it. So we went back, we tried the case again, and the second trial was pretty much an affirmation of what the result of the first trial was. There was no, quote, newly discovered evidence or anything like that. And the result was a lot quicker than the first time. Second time around, the jury was able to come back with the second count of involuntary manslaughter. So instead of a maximum of 18, he was looking at a maximum of 20. And that's what he got. Mr. Triplett claims that the judge was biased in this case. I would counter with that in defense of the judge. What she did was defend the interest of society against someone who proved to be a very dangerous man. This is a man that's 6'6", 260 pounds, and you just hope that you're not the person who crosses paths with that individual on a bad day. This is what happened to Michael Corrado.
I really thought I was going home. I'm young, I'm black, with a record, but I thought the justice system would work. Justice works, right? Like, the legal system works both ways. I had an all-white jury, but I didn't think that race mattered. We just elected Obama. Like, why would my race mean anything? That's when I learned, like, I was naive. Right or wrong didn't matter. I was born wrong. So once they had me in the system, it was a wrap. Like, I felt then as I feel now, it was some bullshit.
Any notion that this verdict was race-based is pure garbage. He's saying that because he didn't like the result. These are words of desperation. When all else fails, let's throw the race card out there. I'm sorry, I think it's, I'm taken aback by it. It's not what we do. It's not what we do. It's a jury that is picked randomly, and the judge is an African American. He claims that the court system is being racist when the person ultimately passing judgment on him is a member of his own race. You can't decide cases based on race. I mean, that would be the farthest thing from a fair trial as you could possibly imagine.
That trial was a crock of shit. To this day, I still don't understand how they could convict him. Walter didn't mean to kill anyone.
Look, I'm writing it the way you write.
That night, a gentleman came from my left side and took a swing at me. And at that moment is when Walter stepped in. When he stepped in, two gentlemen went down, one got up.
Stick bigger than you.
I did expect him to at least do some time, but not 20 years. That was a shock to me. It's the amount of years. That is my twin that protected me, and we were ripped apart from each other. That's not gonna go away. Even when Walter comes home, it's not gonna go away because that is years of our lives gone.
I mean, all homicides are tragic. This was especially tragic because it wasn't an intentional murder. Walter really believed that he was doing the right thing, that he did nothing wrong, didn't commit a crime, didn't intend to hurt anybody the way that Corrado got hurt. But Walter's been through 2 trials, 2 separate juries. The facts of the case stood strong, finding him guilty the second time, too. At this point in time, 10 years later, there are no question marks in the legitimacy of Walter's conviction. Walter has to accept the responsibility for his actions.
When I think about that night, the only thing I could have done differently was not go out that night. Once they made the choice to chase us out and attack my sister, my choice will always be the same. Will always be to protect my family. So, no, there's nothing I could have or would have done differently. I hate the position that him and his friends put me in. I wish he wouldn't have died for my sake and his, but I don't have, like, feelings towards him.
Walter only talked about how it affected him, the action that he took, and ended up with somebody dying. And not to be remorseful about that, about his actions that night, I think he's doing himself a disservice. I guess I can understand a little bit of what he's saying, but whether it was intentional or an accident, you still expect a little bit of remorse out of somebody who took a person's life. He doesn't realize the mistake that he made and the effect that it had.
You can't really put the impact on the family into words. It took many, many years for those who loved him to be able to find a new balance. Michael was just the best guy. He was the best person, a super kind, gentle soul. From a super young age, he was a family man. My strongest memories of him are probably that he was really never not there for the people he cared about. And he was just happy when other people were happy. It was difficult to be unhappy around him. He was the rock of the family, is the way I would describe him. Lives were forever changed, and there's a massive piece missing that's truly irreplaceable. Michael, he made the world a better place.
On a human level, I feel empathy and sorrow for his family. I wish that he was home with his family, and I wish the same for myself. But if defending my family, if that was a crime, then I stand convicted 10 times out of 10. It's hard for me to feel this sense of guilt because I feel justified.
All of the witnesses agreed that Michael did not punch or attempt to punch or throw a punch at Walter's sister. So it's entirely possible that Michael Corrado did absolutely nothing wrong and lost his life that night just based on the fact that he was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
The fact of the matter is that he wasn't a bystander. Michael was not a bystander in that situation, right? He came out with a group. We were attacked by strangers. They pursued us outside. They chased us down. My intent that night was only to protect my sister and go home. My intent was only to get us out of there safely.
Walter Triplett has a criminal history, okay? The cumulative sentence was 18 years. But it was 8 years plus 10 years for being a repeat violent offender. Mr. Triplett claims that the judge was biased in this case. What she did was defend the interest of society against someone who proved to be a very dangerous man.
A lot of the criticism about me was my past, right? But after I got out of prison that last time, there was no looking back for me, you know? Like, if I would have went to that bar that night and started a fight, right? If I would have then pursued them outside, and if I would have chased them down and attacked them, then yeah, hammer me, let me have it, because this is a continuation of my bullshit, right? But the situation as it is, no. Why would my past be held against me? My past only came into play after the fact.
Any notion that this verdict was race-based is pure garbage. He's saying that because he didn't like the result.
I believe race played the biggest factor in this, right? I believe that had I been white and they were black, I would not have been convicted. I know what my experiences were. And I'm not interested in leveling a charge of racism against them. I'm not interested in any of that. You know, what I'm interested in is addressing the systems that allow these things to consistently happen. Like, let's address that. When black defendants get mostly white juries, then those juries are usually more punitive, and you can check the numbers, it's true. But somehow I end up with 2 juries, 2 years apart, just all white. And this is in a city that's 60% black. How does that randomly happen? It doesn't. I did not want this man to die. Like, I did not want this man to lose his life. I feel empathy and sorrow for his family. They lost a son, they lost a grandson, they lost a brother. They lost a lot. And, like, my heart goes out to them. But I believe the people that chased us out and attacked us are responsible for Mike Corrado's death. I don't apologize for my actions. No.
Daniel, he. You tell the FBI on for real?
I told him.
The phone's not ready yet.
I'm here for.
Wait.
Leo.
We're gonna put this one in there. This one like a cartoon down there. Like this.
Captain Sakaki, please respond. We need to ask you to leave the shuttle.
My conditions are for us to leave planet Tau E immediately and abandon the emigration